very lovely good morning and welcome to Camnet TV Breakfast Show, where we urge you, the viewers out there from wherever you are watching us from, to rise and thrive this particular morning, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Joe Smart, and of course, like always, we begin with the Health Corner. Let's go on this segment. We'll be right back.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubiana Mufaya. So this week we are talking about typhoid fever. And yesterday we talked about what is typhoid fever. And we say that typhoid is a diarrheal disease that is caused by a bacteria. Usually there are two types of this bacteria, which we call the Salmonella typhi and the Salmonella. Today we'll talk about the risk factors. What are some of the risk factors that predispose people to having this bacteria or to having this infection? So usually it's people who live in places that are overcrowded. So if you live in an overcrowded place, you are at risk of having this bacteria. Usually it's caused by the fecal-oral route, so transmitted through the fecal-oral route. So if you stay with someone who has typhoid and peradventure they haven't washed their hands after using the bathroom or the toilet, and they touch the food that you're going to eat, you can also become infected by the same bacteria. Also, if in the environment there are some sewerage water, they can easily infect the water that you drink. For example, if you drink tap water or pump water or borehole water, and that water is infected from a nearby sewer or sewerage, you can easily get the bacteria through that route as well. So other ways of getting the bacteria is if somebody shakes hand with another person who has typhoid and their hands are infected, and then they go ahead and touch food and eat the food, they can also become infected with the bacteria. So these are some of the ways of which the bacteria is transmitted, and usually it's in places that are overcrowded. So other risk factors of having this bacteria or having this infection is if you have HIV and AIDS. So people who have HIV are also at risk of getting this infection because their immune cells are compromised, and so they are not able to fight infection very well. Other people who also have other diseases like malaria or schistosomiasis can also get this infection very easily because their immunity is compromised. Also, people who are on long-term corticosteroids, so people who use steroids, can also get the infection very easily because steroids can reduce the response of your immune system. So these are ways in which somebody can get the infection. So it's important that you know exactly if you are having symptoms of this infection. So tomorrow we'll talk about some of the symptoms that you need to look out for in case you suspect that you are having typhoid fever. So look out for tomorrow. Make sure you watch again and invite your friends, invite your family. If you miss any episodes, you can always watch my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Nakubiana Mufaya, where you will find all these videos and so many others. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubiana Mufaya, and I will be glad to answer or help in any way that I can. I'll see you again next time. Make sure you stay blessed and stay healthy.
Okay, so there you have it. That was a presentation there from our resident doctor. Hope you learned one or two things from that particular presentation. Now we go to issues that have to do with money. Like always, money matters as well. Let's get into the money markets and find out how the kwacha is faring against major convertible foreign currencies. We begin with the United States dollar, which is buying at 25 kwacha 37 ngwe and selling at 25 kwacha 87 ngwe. The euro is buying at 27 kwacha 41 ngwe and selling at 27 kwacha 91 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 31 kwacha 88 ngwe and selling at 32 kwacha 51 ngwe. The South African Rand is buying at 1 kwacha 39 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 41 ngwe. Now be reminded that this particular update is for today, 5th May in the year 2024 at exactly 07:22 hours. Now these foreign exchange rates do vary from bank to bank and from bureau to bureau. So be rest assured as you go ahead to conduct your business this particular morning, today, Tuesday the 14th of May. Be rest assured that those are your foreign exchange rates. The kwacha is now at 25 kwacha against $1 United States dollar. So there you have it. It has seen a drop. Is the assurance from Minister of Finance, Dr. Honorable Stumbeko Msokotwane, that the kwacha might just do a bullish attack against other major convertible foreign currencies, particularly the United States dollar. We wait to see. Yesterday it was at 25, at 27. Today it's at 25. We are watching it closely and we wait to see what happens next. Now, obviously, at this point in time, not turning this particular segment as a footballing segment, but would like to congratulate Real Madrid as well for emerging champions of Europe. We congratulate them, like we say, Hala Madrid. Now we move on. We get into our zooming headlines this particular morning, and I urge you to brace yourselves as we get into these stories, and also as we wait for our guest this particular morning, a governance expert who will be joining us to look at different stories and discuss different topics right here on Camnet TV Breakfast. Now, when we come to the zooming headlines, we do have an interesting story where effective 13th May, which was yesterday, Monday, the Lusaka Water and Supply Sanitation Company Limited will implement water rationing due to power supply challenges faced by ZESCO Limited. Speaking during a press briefing, Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company Limited Managing Director, Engineer Jili Jiombwe, says the company is heavily relies on electric powered pumping systems, making it vulnerable. Now, engineer says due to this, they will reduce water supply hours from 18 hours to 10 hours daily, as they are losing 8 hours of production time due to ZESCO's load management program. We'll go on this particular clip. When we come back, we expect your calls and, of course, your submissions. Stay tuned.
The Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company have May 13, 2024 announced that it has started rationing water supply in Lusaka due to the ongoing load management by ZESCO. Speaking at a press briefing, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Managing Director, Engineer Jili Chiombwe, says with the ongoing electricity supply constraints on water production and distribution facilities and the decline in underground water levels due to drought that have affected the ability to produce and sustain consistent water supply as required, thereby affecting service delivery to the company's customers. Engineer Chiombwe says the company's dependence on electric pumping machinery is hindering their production capacity, which has led to Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company to settle for solar PV systems as an alternative energy, with about 5 sites already on solar to mitigate the effects of load shedding on water supply.
Of course, officially we are announcing it today. That is something that we have started in a few areas to load management, but officially we are announcing it today. Ration supply. Rationing supply means that you probably don't supply for 8 hours, then you supply for the remainder of the period. Now, if you're going to receive water for the period that your water is going to be available, our meter is going to give the volume that you have consumed. Therefore, we still expect our customers to pay their bills, because this is what helps us buy chemicals and also just to improve service delivery. So please, I want to urge our customers to pay our bills on time.
Mr. Chiombwe also reveals that the company has invested significantly in upgrading the water network flexibility and urged customers to use water responsibly.
Our installations are load managed. There's load shedding on our installations. Therefore, so long as the load shedding is there, the rationing will continue. However, for certain installations, mitigation measures are going to be put in place. I cannot state when and what, but of course, something that we are working on in the background, and then you will be informed at an appropriate time when we are ready with those mitigation measures.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Okay, a takeaway statement there from Engineer Chiombwe, where he says he does not know when the measures will be put in place to ensure that water rationing comes to an end. And one of the statements that he made in that particular clip is, provided that load shedding continues, water rationing will also continue. Let's hear from you. How do you make of this particular development where residents, citizens of Zambia, of Lusaka, will start water rationing from 18 hours to 10 hours? Let's find out from you. And in fact, if you are watching us from the Copper Belt or from Eastern Province, Northwestern Province, Western Central, Northern Province, please come through and let us know how's the water situation in your area. Now, not so long ago, I think a few weeks ago, residents of Mutendere were also didn't have water rather for 2 weeks, and now with this water rationing, we wait to see what will happen. But on the brighter side, we saw Minister of Water, Honorable Mike Mposha, in Kanyama constituency and Matero constituencies of Lusaka, flagging off the drilling of boreholes in those two constituencies. And our plea is that maybe, just maybe, this can be extended to other constituencies, so that when the water utility company begins to ration water supply, people in these compounds or townships, densely populated townships, will be able to have water supply through their boreholes. I think it's a good gesture coming from government. Now, talking about the water utility company and the power utility company, they now have something in common. They already have something in common, but they now have something in common, whether they'll be rationing water this side. And the power utility company is also implementing the load shedding schedule, which has seen, obviously, residents being cut off from power supply for 8 hours due to, obviously, the drought that the country is currently facing, and this has been necessitated by, obviously, yes, the drought. But I'm looking for a story. I'm looking for a story that has to that has to do with something that I read in relation to ZESCO. Okay, I saw it in the Daily Nation. It's in the Zambia Daily Nation. So let me just okay. I hope I find it. I just want to, because yesterday on social media, speculations. We keep on saying, when you don't issue statements, or when you don't tell the public what exactly is obtaining in those public offices that you occupy, which puts you on the spotlight. Obviously, there's no private life if you're in public office, because you're handling public funds and you're handling members of the public. So there's no private life, and obviously we're interested in what you're doing in that office. If you're serving the people to the best of your abilities and meeting their expectations. Talking about that, we go to a story on the Daily Nation Facebook page, which has been monitored, obviously, by Camnet TV breakfast team. And according to this particular story, like I said yesterday, the Blue app was awash with reports that suggested that, and we haven't yet received the confirmation statement, just like we didn't receive a confirmation statement from ERB when the board chairman was fired. We didn't receive any confirmation statement from government or from the board itself that the board chairman was fired. We didn't get that statement as the media. Then also reports that the Director General was sent on forced leave. We didn't get a statement confirming that. So it was left to speculation until, as the media, we made sure that we dug deeper and we established that yes, indeed, the board chairman for ERB was fired. Okay. Why am I saying this? I'm relating this to this story that is on the Daily Nation Facebook page, which was obviously posted yesterday, when these speculations filled social media, suggesting that ZESCO boss, Engineer Victor Mapani, has reportedly been sent on forced leave. Now, I'm reading from this particular story. For those that saw how the Blue app yesterday was awash with reports that Engineer Victor Mapani had been sent on forced leave. Obviously, this is a story now from the Daily Nation. Like I said, we haven't yet gotten confirmation from ZESCO. And like last time, we didn't get any confirmation from ERB about the board chairperson and the Director General being sent on forced leave. So, this story reads, ZESCO boss Mapani reportedly sent on forced leave. ZESCO Managing Director Victor Mapani has reportedly been sent on forced leave following the hiking of electricity tariffs, which has so far sacked in Reynolds Waugh, the Energy Regulation Board ERB chairman, and the Director General Jahane Mukabe. Efforts to get a comment from Mr. Mapani and the Minister of Energy, Peter Kapala, failed as several calls made to their phones were not answered. A query sent to Energy Minister Peter Kapala, his Permanent Secretary Peter Mumba, and Mr. Mapani was not responded to by press time. However, sources close to the matter said yesterday that Mr. Mapani had been sent on forced leave over the electricity tariffs hike, among other reasons, including allegations of nepotism. Get me right. This is a story on the page for one of the daily indigenous tabloids here in Zambia, which is the Daily Nation. This is a story that they carried out yesterday regarding news from the grapevine that the ZESCO boss has allegedly been sent on forced leave, and obviously these are some of the reasons. But we await to hear from the ZESCO spokesperson because a query obviously has been sent. We await a statement in this regard to find out whether this is actually what is obtaining on the ground, and obviously as people in the media will be able to get what is already happening. Our colleagues from Daily Nation obviously have already done their investigations and will continue doing so. Like I said, the same thing happened with ERB, Energy Regulation Board. We never got a statement or confirmation from government or the board or the Ministry of Energy itself about the Energy Regulation Board chairman and also his Director General being sent on forced leave, him being fired. And now we have ZESCO boss also who has been allegedly sent on forced leave. So we leave it like that as we continue bringing you these stories and as we continue to wait for our guests to join us. But for now, let's go to the opposition Citizens First Party, which has described the decision by the Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company to ration water supply owing to the current load shedding as shocking and reckless. We go on this particular clip. When we come back, we continue with Camnet TV Breakfast. Please do stay tuned.
The Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company have May 13, 2024 announced that it has started rationing water supply in Lusaka due to the ongoing load management by ZESCO. Speaking at a press briefing, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Managing Director, Engineer Jili Chiyombwe, says with the ongoing electricity supply constraints on water production and distribution facilities and the decline in underground water levels due to drought that have affected the ability to produce and sustain consistent water supply as required, thereby affecting service delivery to the company's customers. Engineer Chiyombwe says the company's dependence on electric pumping machinery is hindering their production capacity, which has led to Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company to settle for solar PV systems as an alternative energy, with about 5 sites already on solar to mitigate the effects of load shedding on water supply.
Of course, officially we are announcing it today. That is something that we have started in a few areas to load management, but officially we are announcing it today. Ration supply. Rationing supply means that you probably don't supply for 8 hours, then you supply for the remainder of the period. Now, if you're going to receive water for the period that your water is going to be available, our meter is going to give the volume that you have consumed. Therefore, we still expect our customers to pay their bills, because this is what helps us buy chemicals and also just to improve service delivery. So please, I want to urge our customers to pay our bills on time.
Mr. Chiyombwe also reveals that the company has invested significantly in upgrading the water network flexibility and urged customers to use water responsibly.
Our installations are load managed. It's not shedding on our installations. Therefore, so long as the load shedding is there, the rationing will continue. However, for certain installations, mitigation measures are going to be put in place. Cannot state when, and what. But of course, something that we are working on in the background, and then you will be informed at an appropriate time when we are ready with those mitigation measures.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Today, Lusaka Water and Sewerage and a press briefing where they have actually informed the people or the nation that they are going to do some water rationing. Now, we are very disappointed that Lusaka Water was able to actually even have that press conference to start with, in the sense that the time they spent, they should have spent it with ZESCO. As far as we are concerned, Lusaka Water is a strategic institution, so it cannot be load-shedded like any other ordinary institution. That's not correct. So they cannot bring that excuse that no, ZESCO is actually load-shedding them. This is very unfortunate, and we are calling upon the Minister Mike Mposha, the Minister of Water and Sanitation, to immediately intervene in this matter, because if this matter is not dealt with, currently Lusaka Water hasn't been even doing well. We're going to have waterborne diseases that are going to break out in Lusaka. Dysentery, typhoid, cholera, and all these diseases are going to actually start spreading everywhere. So we call upon management at Lusaka Water as well to go and sit down with ZESCO so that they can stop load shedding them, just like they don't load shed other strategic institutions like hospitals. And we also call upon ZESCO to follow their schedule, which they have circulated. We have noticed that ZESCO likes to just switch on and off power at will, at any time they feel like. They don't actually follow the schedule. This becomes very difficult for people to plan, and we need them to make sure that they follow the schedule so that they don't inconvenience us. The people want a schedule that's going to be followed by them and also by ZESCO.
Okay, so that's the citizens first. They are also weighing in on the latest development coming from our water utility company that has started implementing rationing of water. And now, on the other hand, we have the power utility company ZESCO also implementing a load shedding schedule, which normally in most cases is not followed. You are told 8 hours, it goes up to 12 hours. You are told you have power from 6 to 14. You end up not having power for more than the stipulated hours. But those are the concerns coming through from the citizens first, and we await to hear from you, members of the public out there. And our topic of discussion obviously today, when our guest joins us at exactly 8 hours, is governance and development, and obviously the sub topic to that is why do people vote? Why do you vote? For instance, you as a member of the public out there, we want to find out, because these are matters that border on national interests, obviously governance matters. Now, moving on, former State House press aide Amos Chanda has filed a notice of intention to appeal the court's decision to convict and sentence him to 12 months imprisonment with hard labor and a fine of 5,000 kwacha. According to a former spokesperson, there was no sufficient evidence presented in court that he stole and destroyed court documents. Mr. Chanda has also applied for bail pending appeal on grounds that doing so will provide time to provide requisites for the appeal. We go into this particular story. When we come back, we'll be joined by our guest this morning. Please stay tuned.
On Friday, 10th May 2024, the Lusaka Magistrate Court slapped former spokesman to former President Edgar Lungu, Amos Chanda, a 12 months imprisonment with hard labor for stealing court documents and a 5,000 kwacha fine for destroying them. The established destroyed court documents are in connection with a case in which Mr. Chanda was the third accused person jointly charged with Mr. Eonahasi and Zinda Wasoko, but the Director of Public Prosecutions on May 12, 2020 entered a nolle prosequi and the three were discharged of the offense. But in rendering judgment Friday, Magistrate Irene Wishimanga explained that it was heard in the audio produced before the court by an investigations officer from the Drug Enforcement Commission DEC that the convict is the one who took the court record and destroyed them by burning it into ashes, a revelation which was recorded by a DEC officer as the convict disclosed to his colleagues at a named hotel in Lusaka. Disappointed with the court's judgment, Amos Chanda has filed a notice to appeal the court's verdict, claiming lack of sufficient evidence to warrant his imprisonment. In the notice filed before the Lusaka Magistrate Court, Mr. Chanda argues that the court misdirected itself in law and fact by convicting him for the offense of theft and destruction of evidence when there was no sufficient evidence produced by the prosecution warranting the conviction. He submits that the court erred in law and fact when it avoided the evidence of the prosecution, indicating there was no record stolen, and went on to convict Mr. Chanda on tempered evidence. The convict has also applied for bail pending appeal, as he believes that his appeal will succeed on the basis that he has been compliant with the court's directives from trial to conviction stage. He submits that admitting him to bail pending appeal will provide him sufficient time to prepare for the prosecution of appeal. The court is yet to rule on the bail pending appeal application. 2 months ago, the former State House press aide appealed against a 7 months imprisonment for obstructing Anti-Corruption Commission officers, SCC, from conducting their duty during an investigation which was slapped on him, his wife Mebona Kaundi, and his sister-in-law. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Okay, so that's the former presidential aide there, Mr. Amos Chanda. It depends how you pronounce it, but okay, thank you so much for still joining us. Now, that's a story that was done, obviously, by Nelson, our roving reporter there, Nelson Zulu, giving us that particular report on what is currently obtaining regards Mr. Amos Chanda there. But for now, allow me to introduce our guest this particular morning in our main interview, where we feature a governance expert, Mr. Wesley Mianda. Mr. Mianda, good to see you and welcome.
Good to see you too, Joel. And I'm happy to be here this morning.
Okay, we are happy to host you.
Good morning, viewers.
Mr. Mianda, first things first, before we come to our topic of discussion, obviously, we're discussing governance and development, and the sub-headline is, why do you, the citizens, vote? Why do we vote? That's the sub-headline there. Now, Mr. Mianda, quickly, your reaction to that particular story. That's a learned, youthful individual, former State House press aide in the name of Amos Chanda, who has filed a notice of intention to appeal the court's decision to convict him for 12 months imprisonment with hard labor and pay a fine of 5,000 kwacha. Let's take it from the top. What was your initial reaction when you got the news that the former press aide was going to be, or has been sent to 12 months imprisonment with hard labor?
Joe, my heart bled. My heart bled in the sense that I look at the whole thing as a loss to Zambia. Because to start with, these are the young men that we have, the learned people that we're supposed to groom as leaders of this country. So for us to see such things, taking shape, and our own future leaders, getting involved into such kind of issues, we feel we are losing out. We are losing out, and this is not the only one. There are so many young men that we are supposed to depend on for refined leadership in this country.
Okay.
I'll give you an example of Chirufya Tayali. My heart goes for that young man. And I just hope and pray that at some point he will actually turn back and realize how important he is in this country. It's not good to be pursued by law enforcers because of certain things that we do deliberately. That issue about Amos Chanda is supposed to be avoided, but the problem that we have is our own politicians take things for granted. They take it that today will be the same as tomorrow.
Okay.
Especially those that were in ruling at some point. You know that they took it that, you know, this country belonged to them. It was entirely in their hands, and that's the reason why they could do anything. They could actually get money, abuse, maybe should we say, abuse taxpayers' money with impunity. They would break the law, they would even insult, they should shout at anybody. I've seen even the former ministers who still have that kind of spirit to even insult our law enforcers, our police officers. Do you know that? Don't you know that I was the minister? Now what? So what? You were, but you are no longer there. So such issues actually, Joe, pierce my heart. I feel bad.
Okay.
As a Zambian citizen. You know, in our advocacy, as ambassadors of peace, the people were supposed to preach love, unity, and justice for all. We feel bad when we see our own fellow Zambians, at each other's necks. It doesn't make sense, because at the end of the it's like we are coming from the same mother, the same parent. It's only that we differ. The way we do things. Even the complexion. We differ.
Mr. Mianda,
So,
just on that one, let me
yes.
find out from you. Yesterday, we're not digressing, by the way. Yesterday, Liverpool was playing Aston Villa, and they drew 3-3. Okay. The day before yesterday, we saw Cabo Warriors and Red Arrows playing. Cabo Warriors lost, obviously 2-1 to the Airmen, Red Arrows. But there, when you talk about the supporters for the Airmen, we have people who are, for instance, Cabo Warrior supporters, but they work for the Zambia Air Force. Okay? For instance, we have people that might work for Zambia Railways, but they support Red Arrows, the airmen, right? Generally, we have Cabo Warrior supporters, Red Arrow supporters, Liverpool supporters, Aston Villa supporters. But when they sit on a round table, it's nothing personal. It ends there. So I've given you an example of local clubs and international clubs, right?
Yes, yes.
Why can't we have the same approach to politics before we even begin to justify, this one comes from this region, from this stronghold, from that political party? Why can't we have an objective conversation regarding national matters before looking at who's green, who's red, who's purple, who's yellow? Yeah? Why can't we just have an objective conversation, minus people having emotions, people running to the streets, people insulting, people booing each other? Why can't we just have an honest, objective conversation, so that at the end of the day, it's the Zambia agenda that you and other people out there want to achieve? Why can't we behave like soccer fans?
First, I want to put it in this manner. I'm happy the way you are coming out with this kind of illustration, talking about the supporters for different teams. They just have that kind of support when they are out there, but when they are in one place,
they drink together, they eat together.
Yeah.
Yes.
The problem we have is that currently the crop of politicians that we have now are amateurs. They don't understand what politics is all about. All they know is that when you are said to be a politician, you should know how to insult. You should know how to demean somebody.
And those are the qualifications.
Or those are the qualifications. You should know how to lie.
Okay.
Okay? You should know how to downplay anything that your friend is doing. You cannot have time to appreciate that. Joe, what you are doing here, this is good. Let me emulate, let me copy it from you. We don't have that spirit. Once we are said to be politicians, like we are in power, we feel we have it all. No one should push us around because it's our time to eat. It's our time to brag around. It's our time to abuse public institutions. It's our time to abuse even national resources because no one will talk about it. No one will push us around. When we are in opposition, we feel, what can the ruling do? Whatever the ruling is doing, we have no time to say, by Edgar Lungu, the roads that we have constructed are perfect because these are developmental projects that will stand the test of time. You may not be there, but Zambians will still remain actually appreciating your good works. We can't do that. All we do is, what did he do? But are we looking at the good part of what these friends of ours did that we need to appreciate, that we need to emulate, that we need to copy and say, let's start from where they ended. Secondly, on the part of the ruling, those that are in opposition, they cannot even appreciate that, okay, the current administration has recruited 40,000 teachers.
Okay.
Okay? And even Africa as a whole, including, let me say globally, people are coming to say, by church, you've done a good job to recruit teachers. Because initially, it was just like a dream job. Because people used to say, but where is this man going to get the money to pay the teachers? But do we have any information that teachers have not been paid this month? Are they in arrears? The answer is no. They are getting paid. Okay? That is your creation. The same period, you find CDF has been increased from 1.6 million to 30 million. That should be given to all the 156 constituencies across the country. Whether kuli opposition MP, whether kuli independent, it has nothing to do with that. Even on the issue of beneficiaries, there's nothing like, no, you need just to give by UPND. No. It is for everyone. The first qualification is a Zambian citizen. Are you a Zambian citizen? Yes. You are qualified. What do you want to do with this money? I want to do this. Where is the project proposal? This one is here. The money is given. In other words, it's supposed to be some kind of fairness in the way the management of CDF is supposed to be done. That's just an example.
Okay.
Another example, where you have where you have free education policy. Okay, I'm talking about things that we can look at and say, okay, by UPND, here you are doing fine. Shake hands. Where we are supposed to see by Edgar Chagwalungu and our own Republican president now sitting on the round table.
Why are we not seeing that?
Sitting on the round table, Joe, the two leaders, the former head of state, who is the only surviving former head of state that we have. We are supposed to love that man, protect that man, and respect him. Sitting together with the current president, our own Republican president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, sitting on the round table. So that even Zambia, before you come in, even Zambians will be able to say, the two big ones, our own parents, are now sharing from the same cup.
Why are we not seeing this happening?
Selfishness. And we're amateur because we don't understand what politics is all about. We only know when we are politicians, we need to become enemies. We can't have that spirit of appreciating what one is doing. We are always there to demonize whatever little somebody is doing, downplaying whatever development that is taking shape. You talk about the Ndola Door Carriageway, the Lusaka Door Carriageway, the deal is done. Somebody will say, no, bale. You talk about the Mopani mining, Mopani mine, or these mines that have been closed for more than 10 years. Somebody comes in and only revamp them. They will say, no, bafuna kuba. If we are always on the negative side, and yet our main agenda, Joe, is to develop this country. Our main agenda, Joe, is to make people happy because they have 3 meals per day. Morning, breakfast, lunch, supper. We are able to provide that one as government. That is our cry. We see our men and women getting employed because we are an industrialized country. Looking at our natural resources that we have, we want to make use of them. We want to have these minerals that we are keeping. For who? We don't know the people that we are keeping these minerals for. So we bring this. Listen, young man. We bring these minerals and put them here. We ask people who are experts now, what can we make from sugilite? My Chinese, they'll say, from sugilite you can make A, B, C, D. Okay, do you have that knowledge? Yes. Do you have the machine? Yes. Shall we partner? We partner.
But that's what the UPND told us. You are a governance expert. I'm sure you are aware of this. The UPND said they won't issue mining licenses to foreign nationals. I've followed their journey before they came into government.
Yes.
They told the Zambian people that a Zambian will be given a mining license, and if they do not have the capacity, like they keep on telling the Zambian people that they do not have the capacity to run mines, they will have to partner with a foreign national. We are waiting to see that is not obtaining on the ground. Sugilite, the trucks that were confiscated in Kabwe, it has gone down. The story has died a natural death. The Zambian citizens do not know where those trucks are, number one. Number two, what is happening on the issues that have to do with mining sugilite? Because according to the Ministry of Mines, it's not listed on one of the minerals that Zambia has. Number three, what is happening to the Jerabos on the copper belt? Allegations are coming up that a CDF vehicle is now being used at Chingola pit, where these pits where they go and mine. A CDF vehicle is now being used. What is really happening, Mr. Mianda? You are a governance expert. Surely you are privy to some of these concerns of members of the public. Why are people flip-flopping?
In my preamble, I mentioned clearly that we are amateurs in politics.
So how do
we believe in lies? Okay. We believe in fake promises because we want to get what we want. Once we get it, once we are there, it's a done deal. We sit and move on in life. We forget that we have promised people that this is what we intend to do when we are given the mandate. This is a challenge with politicians. And the issue of mining, I was just talking about value addition here. That's why I came up with sugilite. It's just one of the examples. So, okay, let me maybe exhaust this point that I raised concerning the value addition. You have sugilite, I'll come to your point, don't worry. You have sugilite, you have copper, okay? Copper, you ask people who are experts to say, okay, what do we make from copper? Already we know we can make bullets, copper cables and many others. But there are other things that we can make out of this. What can we make out of gold? So we have all these natural riches that we can now use to develop this country. Then we ask people to come on board and say, okay, bring the machinery. Let's partner. Let's produce this. By so doing, we are actually getting to, aggressive industrialization, where we are actually adding value to our own national resources. So, when we do that, it means we are even creating jobs. We are creating business opportunities for our people. We are also producing exportable goods that should be sent out to attract the dollar, which should come and address the issue of our local currency, which is ever going down. You talk about this timber, how do we call Mukula. For somebody coming all the way from China, from whatever country outside Zambia, to get this tree, this timber, it means that it has value. Have we ever sat down with such people to ask them, what do you make out of this mukula? It's a mukula kuno ni chimutengo chabe. We just look at this as chimutengo. We can even use it to make malacha. They will explain and say, oh, Baba, from this tree, we can make A, B, C, D. Ah, so you can make that. You know that? Yes. Okay. Do you have the machines? Yes, we have. Ah, we are ready. Now, this is where the leaders in this country are supposed to actualize the promise of partnering with foreigners in certain things.
That's what I was coming to, because
yes.
Look, Mr. Mianda,
yes.
Young people went in numbers, for instance, to vote for the UPND. This is why our sub topic is, why do you vote as a citizen? They went to vote for the UPND based on the promises that they made. When it comes to partnering, if, for instance, you have a source from Mukula tree,
yes,
you partner with a foreign national, then you begin to trade in Mukula tree. This is not happening. There has been a ban on Mukula tree. The trade is no longer happening. What is really happening? Is this working meticulously, or maybe it's one way of depriving the many Zambians the promises that were made to them prior to 2021?
The selfishness is at play.
Selfishness is at play?
Selfishness is at play. Do you know that there are people right now, the same leaders, who are busy mining? They are mining gold.
Yes, we are aware.
You are aware,
yes,
that there are some ministers who are actually, who own mines.
Yes.
In Mumbai.
In Mumbai, yes.
In Mkushi.
Yes.
Wherever.
Yes.
Even these political cadres now, they have the mines. That's why they are able to even buy my Benz, my Mercedes Benz.
Why should it be like that, Mr. Mianda? Why should it be like that? UPND wasn't only voted for by UPND cadres, but for the majority Zambians. This is why they got 1 million plus votes. Why should only a selected few that are connected to the corridors of power, that make visits to State House and maybe Community House, since State House has been taken to Community House now, be the only ones to benefit the minority few on the expense of the majority Zambians, on the expense of that woman in Soweto Market, that woman in Chisokode Market, that woman in Green Market in Kabwe? Why should the minority few be the ones to benefit on the expense of the majority Zambians?
Let me come to my earlier point, where I said we are good at lying, making fake promises because we want to get there.
Okay.
Now, the point is, once I get here, nafika, Azakambako Nidan is going to say,
you are in charge now.
I'm in charge. I'm in control. I can do anything. That is the badness that we now have at hand with politicians. I'm talking about the past politicians in the former government, even in the current one. They promised.
Including the opposition.
Including the opposition. Even in them, as they are in opposition right now, as they are downplaying whatever UPND is doing, they want to have it in mind. I want to own a mine also.
They are also
somewhere.
living.
I want to start trading in Mukula. Because even these things, even now, they are happening. People trading in Mukula. Don't say, no, Mukula thing is quiet. It's not quiet. The trucks that were impounded have not they've not gone into oblivion. No. Somebody managed to get it and made a fortune out of it. And that's at the expense of that woman who is being chased from the street, who is actually trying to sell katomato kuti akagulire bana bakudya. That woman is disregarded. She's nothing. Because it's them now who are there. And they are able to do whatever they can. They are busy making money, trading in Mukula, mining Sujilite, mining gold in Kasenseli, and yet they are saying Kasenseli is closed, mining all these sorts of mines, these minerals, And yet, that woman who is trying to survive, who is trying to feed her 3 children and the 5 orphans that she's keeping home, is driven away from the street. She's not even given an opportunity to say, okay, or an alternative to say, okay, can you sit here and do the what? Do the trading so that you earn a living. They don't have that time. As long as it is good to them, they are able to drive, they are able to have coffee every morning, they are able to take their children to school abroad, they are able to build mansions, they are able to do anything because it is them now who are in charge.
It's their time.
It's their time. But these are the things that are bringing issues now. That's why now you see even Amos Chanda, they are in for it. That's why you see now these other former ministers, they are in for it. We are not there. We don't have time to learn from other people's mistakes. Now, UPND leadership, UPN leadership, the writings on the wall are becoming clear. There is a lot that needs to be changed, to be adjusted.
Isn't it too late?
It is not too late. It is not too late. Within the next few years, they can still repent and be baptized in the name of the truth.
Before they are baptized in the name of the truth, they are only remaining with 1 year, 5 months, according to a political calendar. Do they still have time on their hands? Mr. Mianda?
Depending on the speed that they will use, they will drive things at.
IMF has relegated Zambia's economic growth to 2.3% when it was projected at 5% for this year. We are now at 2.3%, and IMF has said this is due to some external factors and also internal factors. We are unable to export, we are unable to produce more for the international or regional community. Mr. Mianda, are we going to be ready to pay back the money that we owe our creditors in the period that we've been given to restructure our debt?
How do we manage to pay back when we have people that are selfish? People who are just there gouging their own bellies. People who are just there thinking for themselves. You know, the problem that we have is we sugarcoat a lot of things just to appease Zambians. And yet we cannot actualize our words. We cannot actually take action. We cannot say, okay, let's take a step. We are just there to try and make Zambians, happy. But Zambians are learned. And Zambians now are waking up because they are now able to understand this one is a lie.
Okay?
They are able to understand. And that's the reason why when we come out, in my preamble, Joe, I wanted to actually make people understand that what is our role as advocates? Why are we here? Okay, how have I found myself here? Who has given me the money for a Yango to come here? We are using our own meager resources to try and add value to the governance system of this country. To try and make things right, to try and educate certain people, remind them of what they are supposed to do for the people of Zambia. We are here as advocates to speak for the main voiceless Zambians. That suffering woman, that one who has been jailed for 5 years just because he has stolen a bag of meal to go and feed his children home. And yet we are looking at somebody who actually has gotten $600 million. And then the SCC say, on drama, and then he pays back $24 million. They say that this is a plus, this is an achievement. It's not an achievement. And
why should it be like that? Not disturbing your thought. Yeah. I want to find out. I'm not a law student, and I want to find out because there are many excuses that are being forwarded to say, no, this particular piece of legislature says you can give some, you can. Let me ask you a question. When a vehicle is involved in undertaking a robbery, right?
Yes.
And then the robbers are found, then that vehicle is confiscated. If the robbers say, we're going to give back the vehicle and the monies, allow us to go free, can they be allowed, Mr. Mianda?
They cannot be allowed.
But why are we allowing people with This is not the first case. We have seen individuals that have been given leeway. No, give us these properties, then we'll let you go. These properties will be used as orphanages for vulnerable children. Why are we not even seeing these properties being auctioned so that we, the public, can be able to buy them at cheaper prices? Why are we having excuses that they're going to be turned into orphanages? Why can't we see them being sold, auctioned on the market, so that we buy them?
Let me remind you, Joe, as I also remind my fellow citizens, that every public institution, we may have a new dawn administration in power, but nothing new has come.
So then why do we vote? The question is why do we vote, Mr.
Let me exhaust my point, Joe. Nothing has changed. Because in the leadership, we still have the same people who were in MMD, who were in PF. They are the leaders. We still have, when you talk about the change of government, these public institutions still remain the way we found them.
Okay.
We still have managers, directors there, human resource managers. They are all intact. The same ones that we inherited from the previous administration. Let's talk about public institutions such as Zambia Police. What has changed? The same corrupt officers who were there in PF, who were used by PF, are the same ones that are there being used by UPND.
Should we fire everybody then? That means that will be rendering.
Now I'm trying to make a point there.
Okay.
I'm trying to make a point there. Now, when you look at the current situation now, where you have an arrangement of somebody who has plundered, maybe they have even built 5, 6 flats.
More than that.
Even more than that. Then they are told, another public institution which is supposed to be to just be, I don't know how it can be handled, because it is contaminated, it is corrupt.
Okay.
Let me be very categorical here.
Oh, please.
It's very, very corrupt. So you have people with corrupt minds. They approach somebody who has 600 million. I will repeat that one as an example.
Okay.
600 million. You negotiate. Let her go big. 24 million. Yes, let's got 24 million. Then your case will be closed. I'm talking of corrupt minds. Then this somebody say, oh, 24 million out of 600 million. Yes. So they even announce it. No, we have recovered 24 million.
To them, it's an achievement.
To them, that's a fake achievement. Zambians are losing out because 24 million is just more 600 million. What is the balance there? Somebody who has 12 flats, then they surrender about about 2 flats. Then those 10 still remain intact, and then you say, now it's a done deal, so you are free. But somebody who has stolen a chicken to feed the family home
5 years with
5 years with that labor. As for this person who is holding on to 600 million and 12 flats, Joe is scot-free because it has surrendered 2 flats. That is total compromise on the fight against corruption, and you will not achieve. As long as we have such minds, as long as we have those legislative pieces they are talking about, we will not achieve anything. It will be just a lip pronouncement that will not be actualized. We have a lot to do. And UPND has a lot to do. Because they've promised more, but they will only achieve little.
They have 1 year.
And the Zambians are counting. Every day that comes is a countdown towards the next election.
1 year, 5 months, according to the election calendar, we're counting. Now, Mr. Mianda, let me draw your attention to something that you said. Are we then concluding that the jails, the prisons, the police cells are only made for the majority poor Zambians? If I've got the money, if I'm wealthy, I know, okay, fine. They'll give me 2 years, suspended sentence. They'll give me 2 years, but I'll appeal. So I'll be saving it outside. Then that young man that made a mistake because of being young, because of being hungry, or because of being naive, is sentenced to 5 years with hard labor. Wow, that rich man is scot-free and is enjoying fresh air in the streets of Lusaka. Mr. Mianda, where have we gone wrong?
It's unfortunate. Joe, yesterday, I visited a certain police station. Then I interacted with the officer in charge. Yeah, I was trying to find out as to how many people are in cells. Then she told me there are about 24 people in cells. 24 people in cells. On which cases? Which cases are they? They say ranging from somebody was booked with a wheelbarrow just to get some things for a marketeer. Then at the end of the day, he disappears. But luckily, he's found, and those are the cases. What of the other one? No, the other one assaulted the other person. Okay, for how long have these people been in cells? She tells me some have been there for 1 week, others for 2 weeks. I said, are you sure? Yes. Why do you over-detain? Because now we are talking about the rule of law here. We are talking about the rule of law here. We are talking about protecting human rights. So we have these promises that are coming from the current administration where they are saying, no, somebody should not actually be in cells for more than 48 hours.
Why isn't this happening, Mr. Mianda? Why isn't this happening? Because look, we know politicians are fond of talking too much. That we understand. But can they also be truthful? Can they also be honest as much as they are making their many pronouncements? The president has repeated times a number. Investigate before you detain. Somebody should be in police custody for 24 hours. This is happening when it comes to politicians. It's happening. They are being released on bail. They are detained for 2-3 days. They are released. But what is happening to that child, that young boy that made a silly mistake, and he has been detained for 2 weeks in police cells and in sanitary conditions? Surely we know how filthy our police stations are, police cells are. We know how filthy they are. And you're allowing a young person to be in there for more than 2 weeks, and here is a politician that has plundered the resources of this country being scot-free. What is really happening, Mr. Mianda? Does it mean that we are seeing selective application of justice here?
Very. That's the point. You know, these cells are for poor people. The jails are for poor people. Do you know that this same Amos Chanda will be given a release? Will be released. He's one of the people that matter in society. So he cannot be kept in.
Doesn't that boy in garden compound matter as well?
He doesn't have money. It's just a poor soul who is struggling. So he has to rot in cells.
So politicians should be going to the rich people to vote for them then.
So now,
let their rich friends vote for them. Why do they go to the poor people in Kalingalinga, in Baulen, in Kanyama? Let them come to Kablonga. Let them go to New Kasama. Let them go to Ibex to lobby for votes. Let their rich friends vote for them.
Keep it there. You know what? I've just been thinking loud. I said, so this world is such an unfair to humanity, because for sure the haves will have it all. The have-nots will not have it.
Even the little will be taken away.
Even the little will be taken away. This issue of investigating before arrests, I think the president, let me be very, particular. The president, time and again, has been preaching about this.
But it's not
to the same police officer. Listen, to the same police officer, Z. investigate before arrest. Don't keep people in cells for more than 48 hours. Don't. But I'm saying, we, looking at the background we're coming from, where we have police officers that were engaged even as cadres.
But the UPN
They don't,
touch.
listen, they don't even understand any basics of the law. Nothing. They are just police officers who know how to handle a gun. At the end of the day, they even shoot at somebody and kill somebody. And then, even if they do that, they are still actually left free. They are set free. Now, listen, the challenge that we have will not come to an end. I don't know when we may change governments, but the system will still remain. People are still being arrested, are still being over-detained by the same police officers. The president has been preaching about it, but they can't get it. Meaning to say, we have a problem. We have the president who gives directives, the directives that cannot be actualized by people that have been given the mandate to work with him.
But who's following? First of all, President Hakainde Hichilema has instituted or came up with what is known as the PUD, PDU, Presidential Delivery Unit. My question is, if this so-called Presidential Delivery Unit is very effective and efficient, why are they not going around the country to monitor if, number one, the president's directives are being actualized on the ground? Or maybe should we conclude that the UPND government is totally detached from reality? It's a government for the haves, for the rich people, and they do not care about the poor majority Zambians that voted for them. Should we conclude?
We can easily conclude that. Now, I want to remind you of one thing that you've mentioned, where the presidential delivery what?
Unit. What is its purpose?
Is it still existing?
What's its purpose?
Is it still existing?
You are a governance expert. you advocate for these things, Mr. Miand.
Listen, Joe. That institution is there on paper, but I've never made any follow-up to see what is happening with it. I think people are just there to enjoy taxpayers' money. If it were there, I'll give an example. If it were there, we already have reports coming from the Copper Belt and from other areas where CDF has been abused.
Kalabo.
Okay, Kalabo is one of them.
Yes.
And the secretary to the Treasury actually issued a statement to say banks are holding on to CDF money. And they are using the same to buy treasury bills and government bonds. Yes. And it's the same government which is paying that interest which they are enjoying. If we had that presidential delivery unity, would we have projects, CDF funded projects that are done on poor quality? Because we have all these reports, and yet this PDU, whatever it is called, is there, and the people are there, officers are there, they've been employed, and they are getting paid every month end. But we have this, and we also have the local authority, the Minister of Local Government, and even those people that are in one development committees, they are there. They are just busy trying to find out how they will benefit from this same money.
Okay.
So we have a challenge in this country, and I don't know whether these things will be resolved when Jesus Christ comes, because we don't seem to have any hope. Now, your question still lingers.
Okay.
Do these cells, do these jails, are they there for the poor? The answer is they are there for the poor. Because the 24 inmates that I found in cells yesterday, why are they still there? Because they are poor. They don't have anything to give out to Makapokola.
Okay.
They don't have any, but because if they have something, they will easily be attended to. Yes, can we talk? They will talk and be removed from cells. They don't have anything. So as long as they don't have anything, nothing will work for them. So at the end of the day, they will still remain there in cells for 2-3 weeks, even 1 month. They'll be there. Now, the other thing that you have asked is, why do people vote? People vote because somebody has told a lie. Somebody has made a fake promise. And they have that hope that maybe this one is going to fulfill what he has promised. But what do? When they reach, they sit down, everything now is quiet, and they don't even blood care of what they talked about when they were campaigning. Even these same politicians in opposition, Joe, their main aim is, how do I manage to put up a mansion? It is all to do with politics. Because politics has become business. Politics has actually enriched people. You know, yes, voting is a constitutional right, but people have ended up abusing it. It has lost power, it has lost value, it has lost its purpose.
So, for instance, Mr. Mianda, Austin Komboni, our speaker, and Elijah Katemba are watching, and they look at our subtopic there. Why do they vote? Why do people vote? Obviously, when you are trying to, when you go to vote, when you cast your vote, you are in earnest seeking for a change.
Yes.
Of government, seeking for a change in how national resources are administered upon. Post 2021, have we seen that change, Mr. Mianda?
Very little change, especially in some areas, in some public institutions. Very little change, Joe. But in most of these, the same things have continued and running. We see, okay, in some for job creation, at least we have seen in a number of things like the recruitment of 40,000 teachers. We really appreciate. The recruitment of health workers, we appreciate. Those that have been attached to security wings, we appreciate. The CDF disbursement across the country, though it is being abused.
It's being abused and it's not working on the
It's
ground.
not adding up. It's not adding up. It's the money that has gone to waste.
Yes.
It is the money that has gone to enrich the few, leaving out the majority.
So where is the presidential delivery unit to monitor?
It's not there. For me, Joe, I would rather propose that presidential delivery unit should be dissolved. Because it is just consuming taxpayers' money for nothing.
When it was being introduced to the Zambian people, it was said that, excuse me, this will monitor key government projects. Why are we not seeing it monitoring key government projects? Surely 30.6 million, that's not easy money. That's not chicken feed.
No.
That's a lot of money.
Yes.
That's a lot of money. And we are hearing what banks are doing with the CDF monies. Councillor Mainda Smarter for Kamwala Ward 5, he's been quoted in the media also saying that banks are delaying CDF projects. And most of the banks are not attacking the banking sector, but this is factual. They are foreign owned, right?
Yes.
And we see indigenous banks for Zambians being closed down. Is this by design? What is really happening to this country? Mr. Mianda, you are a governance expert.
It's heartbreaking. Joe, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. When you talk about banks, we are dealing with foreign banks. Most of them are foreign banks. We have actually neglected our own local investors, such as Invest Trust Bank, which has been closed.
It's now insolvency. It's being closed.
Okay? Zanaco is not being supported. Many other local banks have gone down. So these foreign banks are the ones that are handling the 30 million kwacha meant for CDF. They are the ones that are diverting this same money to buy treasury bills and government bonds to make huge profits.
On the expense of the Zambian.
On the expense of a sufferer. My mother, who is in the village, who is struggling to actually get a bag of meal at 360 kwacha. Then these foreign banks are busy enriching themselves. And the country, the government, the current government, we have the president, we have the ministers and the minister of finance. We have all these people that have been given the mandate to run their affairs on our behalf. They are seated, they are watching. And yet Zambians will continue suffering. The foreigners will continue actually earning a living. 3 meals per day. A Zambian citizen this time around is only talking about 1 meal per day because they cannot afford breakfast. They can't afford lunch. And then what kind of leadership is that? We are saying, UPND, you were given the mandate to run the national affairs. People rode on the promises that you made, that you are going to make things better than the PF did.
They were saying they'll fix it.
They are saying they'll fix it.
That's what they were saying.
Almost 70-80% of things will remain unfixed as we talk about 2026 general elections. What kind of message are you going to carry back to the people that gave you the mandate to give you the 5-year mandate to run the national affairs? Are we doing the right thing? Are we being fair to our Zambian people? We are saying there's still time for you guys to pull up your socks and try to do the right thing within the few months that have remained before we talk about the elections. Public institutions are still contaminated with corruption. The fight against corruption is just a sugar-coated thing. It's not being actualized because we have compromised it through this same policy where we are saying, no, there is corruption in that arrangement. We know somebody's eating properly.
Somebody's benefiting?
Somebody's benefiting. Just from that arrangement of saying, no, can you surrender 5 houses? Somebody's benefiting. That somebody should be fished out. Mr. President, sir, we love you. We know the kind of plans that you have for the people of Zambia. We don't want these plans to just end on the way. We want these plans to be exhausted. Zambians are ready to support you and your government. But we are saying, fulfill the promises. Zambians are suffering. There are a lot of economic hardships that we are going through. We are talking about the hunger situation now in view of the prolonged droughts, where people in the village are struggling. Have we taken time as leaders to go around the countryside to see how people are struggling? Charcoal burning has been banned, has been stopped. The Minister of Environment is green. Is right. Let me stress it. I don't want people to misquote me. The minister is very right because this is what is causing climate change.
But have we seen the ministry, for instance, implementing or embarking on a program of tree planting? They've just banned it. There's no alternative in place.
Let me exhaust my point there. Last week I was in the countryside.
Okay.
I heard the cry of people. You go my buses which go into rural areas. People are crying, they're saying, how do we survive with this drought? Our crops have wilted. We are experiencing this crop failure. And yet the government has banned charcoal burning. How do we survive? For me to come out and try to explain to Zambians on the importance of preserving these natural resources, it's a bit of a challenge because we don't seem to have an alternative for a common Zambian who has been depending on charcoal burning for all those years. Now just to tell him stop, where does it go? We are saying the issue of irrigation system should be actualized, should be simplified, so that even somebody who is not learned can go into the bank, can go to CEEC, make an application, then he is given the money to buy or to drill the borehole, buy the irrigation equipment, and see how they can survive out of that arrangement. But we have bottlenecks, and it's not very easy for a common Zambian to access all that. Why? Because the policies, there's just too much bureaucracy in everything. Even CEEC, for you to be given it's a challenge.
I looked at somebody brought a document when you talk about literacy levels in Zambia being high. Somebody brought a document and they were trying for me to help them. It's complicated.
It is, yes.
For a non-dairy Zambian out there, an SME, a young man who's into SME, or a young lady out there, those documents need to be simplified, Mr. Mianda.
That includes the CDF. You know that I had applied for CDF funds, about 200. I said I wanted to do some fish farming. In Katuba constituency. Up to now, Bawadi opened committee, but CDF chairperson has not gotten back to me to tell me the reason why my project proposal was rejected.
Do you need to be affiliated to the UPND?
I don't know. This is what I'm
Do you need to be connected to State House or Community House?
This is what I'm yet to find out, because if it means getting connected to State House, because I need that 200,000, I will seek to see the president. But president, help me to get this way, because this is the money that has been actually taken into communities. I'm part of that community. I need to benefit so that I do a project where I will even employ some people to work on my project.
You might have access to the president and maybe have an audience with him, and obviously your plight will be looked into. But how about that young person in Kwanabwadia, Kwamugubudu, Namushekendi? They do not have access even to an MP, because in this country we have absentee MPs that only appear in the August House. In their constituencies, they only hear rumors, unverified information that he was here, he was there, he's no longer here, he's gone back to Lusaka. You might have the privilege of meeting the president. What happens to that young person in Kalingalinga? That young person himself in English.
That young person who has not even been to school will remain rotting in Kalingalinga with their in their poverty. They will remain there.
Is that the stage we've gotten to as a country?
It's a sad state of affairs, Joe.
What happens to the future generation, Mr.
It
Mianda?
is spoiled.
Your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren?
There is no hope. With this current situation, there's no hope. And we have just talked about the MPs who are absent from. You know, UPND, because of that aggressiveness in their campaign, people loved the message. Nga chakweba ati pali yenshita kwali nachikorwe chayiminina pa kweba ati bachivotere. It was going to be given a vote.
Pali UPND.
Pali UPND, yes. All these people Nabashari Ngabonse, they actually got voted into power because they rode at the back of UPND.
Even the ones that joined that 11th hour.
Yeah, they were voted. Now, the current situation is not allowing that situation, that level. I'll tell you, in most of these constituencies, we are going to have independent candidates.
Quickly.
And it will be a big challenge. Now, maybe I want to make an appeal. UPND, you have the mandate to run the affairs of this nation. Zambia is rich in natural resources.
They know that.
Zambia actually is full of
high
levels of unemployment.
This is why some ministers have got mines. They know that already, that Zambia is rich in natural resources. They are aware.
Now, I'll be failing in my duties, Joe. I'll be failing in my duties if I don't come back to my fellow opposition.
Speak to the opposition.
I'm appealing to the opposition in this country. I've seen a lot of weaknesses where they are just divided. They are not united.
Amongst themselves, that's the opposition.
Yes, they are not united. And they are not adding up to our young democracy. They are not adding up to our multipartism. And for that, they will make UPND government go to sleep because they are failing to provide credible checks and balances. Their main job is to downplay whatever the current administration is doing. We need, as opposition, to give a direction, to say, by UPND, here is the direction. Stop doing this and that.
Just there, Mr.
But
Minister.
they've never done that, and they are still in squabbles.
As we conclude,
Yes.
I have had extensive interactions with members of the opposition political parties that we have in Zambia. Equally, I have had extensive interactions with the UPND before and after them forming government. In opposition, the opposition political parties, members that I've interacted with, Mr. Mianda,
Yes.
and interviewed in that very seat you are seated there,
Yes.
they have said the UPND, the time that they were in opposition, they never, ever, ever, not at any point, they never appreciated or acknowledged what the PF did or were doing at that particular time. They even went to an extent of not recognizing former President Edgar Lungu as the Republican president. That's the argument that is there. So now the opposition political parties are saying, those that members of the opposition, those that have interacted with,
Yes, sir.
they are saying, why then should we appreciate the UPND when, in fact, what they are doing right now are the things they condemned? Number one, they talked about load shedding. There's a clip that is circulating on different social media platforms,
Yes.
where the president was condemning load shedding and increasing electricity tariffs. It's happening in the UPND.
Yes.
Electricity tariffs have been hiked. Load shedding has been schedule has been is implemented. Yesterday, the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company also initiated water rationing, so there will be no water from 18 to 10. People need to begin. Mr. Minister, our politicians then, should we conclude, as we conclude, should we then say that politicians in Zambia, are calling them amateurs, are they taking the people of Zambia for granted?
Yes, see.
Because of under 5 politics?
Yes, see. That yes in capital letters.
Okay. You're on record, sir.
Zambians, stop being taken for granted by these amateur politicians
Okay.
who cannot even appreciate your vote that you give them today. Because you vote in order to see change. You vote in order to receive services from these people that are in power. But if you don't get those services, what do? Give them a vote. Try another person.
Okay.
Yes. Right. Let's keep trying. If it means changing governments after 2 years, we'll do it. Until we find the right person, who is going to do the right thing, which people want, who is going to meet people's expectations. But for the opposition, I'm still there. I beg of your opposition, stop those squabbles. Be formidable. You know, when we sit to talk about these things, we don't mean to support UPND. We don't mean to support PF. We mean to speak for the Zambian people.
So it's a Zambian agenda.
It's a Zambian agenda. It's
not
not a political
partisan agenda.
No, no. Why should I'm not here because somebody sponsored me? No,
not at all.
I'm not even here to please. I'm here to actually be very fair. That's why I'm saying, as a peace ambassador, we always take a neutral position in trying to come out with issues of national importance.
Fantastic.
Yes. So that's the kind of that's our objective. So follow us closely, and you'll be able to understand our position. Now, those that are in opposition, be strong. Don't be intimidated. This is your country. Tomorrow, you'll be the next government. Those that are in ruling, today you may have it all, but tomorrow it will not be yours. So be factual and be truthful to the people. Make sure that you give them what you promised. When all is said and done, you leave a legacy as UPND. The politics of tit for tat should not be there.
Okay.
The vengeful politics should not be there.
Mr. Mianda.
Because our main objective is our main agenda, whether you are in opposition, in ruling, traditional leader, church leader, our main agenda is to see this country thrive, is to see this country developed.
Fantastic.
Fully. Our people should find employment. Those that are in business should continue doing business.
Okay. Mr. Mianda, you've just reminded me when you say time is ticking, and those that are in government right now, the ruling party should be able to know that like sand in the hourglass, so are your days in government. Thank you so much for coming through, Mr. Mianda. We do appreciate you.
You are welcome. Joe, anytime, please call on us to be able to talk about these issues, to help our friends in government and those in opposition.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. There you have it, viewers. That was our guest this particular morning, Mr. Wesley Mianda. He is a governance expert, a neutral person, an independent person, and a peace ambassador. Obviously giving caution to the ruling party and also the opposition political party leaders out there watching us from wherever you are watching us from. Now, let me say thank you to our stakeholders, major stakeholders, you, the viewer. Austin, thank you so much. You call yourself a Comboni ambassador representing Mississippi. Thank you so much for coming through. And my director, Mr. Isaac Chifita, thank you so much, sir. And the entire production team. I have been your host, Joe Smarter is my name. See you when you see us. Good morning and God bless.